And then back to Iguodala to the rim. Oh, great block. James out of nowhere, skies to the rim. Oh, Boyd took the advantage and played on from inside the center square. Boyd kicked the goal. Boyd kicked the goal from inside the center. Here's Aloisi for a place in the World Cup. He's hands right back up. Big head kick. Down goes Thompson. It's over.
Live it, breathe it, love it. All sports, double coverage.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Double Coverage. Hope you're still living, loving, and breathing sport. I'm Dom with the great man, Saucy. What is happening?
What is going on, Doma? It's been a huge week in sport. Obviously, we had the big AFL finals. We've got the prelims coming up. We won't be talking about that on this show, though, because we did do a special AFL Instagram live with the Butters collection. So make sure you check that out. That's on all our where you can listen to us on Spotify and on YouTube as well. Also our IG. And then we had the NFL kicked off. We had massive F1 race where we seen something very, very familiar, which was Ferrari once again doing what Ferrari does best to Charles Leclerc. And he was none too happy about it. And UFC, big card. We'll talk about that a bit later in the show. And Champions League, there's a lot to talk about. There is a lot to talk about. And hobby talk, well, are we going to get another buyout? We'll find out later in the show what our thoughts are on that one, whether Panini is officially being taken over or not. Is it innuendo? Is it rumors? We don't know. Well, I'm going to put that out there, but we'll give our thoughts on what we think and what it could mean for the hobby going forward.
Of course, Lamont of the week is back on the cards as well.
It is on the cards.
I've got something to bring up for Saucy. Then he's going to probably want to rage. Let me just check something here. Yeah, well, okay. Just something to do with the takeover. Let's rock and roll, Sauce, and let's start with this, because this is a nice one. I'd love to get your reaction on this bad boy. Here it comes. NBA in-season tournament. I don't know if you caught wind of this, Sauce.
Nope,
it's going to start in the 23-24 season. So next year, not this season coming, the following one. So according to Sham Sharania, the NBA will play cup games throughout November. The 8 teams with the best records in those games would advance to a single elimination tournament in December. The other 22 teams will continue their regular season. All in-season tournament games will count as a part of the 82-game schedule. So they're not exempt. It's just the 8 best teams playing each other. The 2 teams that reach the final will end up playing 1 extra game during the regular season. So 83 games in total instead of the 82. The prize, Sharani said, the NBA and NBA Players Association are still working to finalize the in-season tournament concept, which includes a to-be-determined prizes for the 8 teams that advance to the single elimination round. So, your thoughts on?
I don't understand what
cup?
they're trying to do. Well, I don't understand it. Explain that to me again. They're getting the top 8 teams from either conference.
So the 8 teams with the best records.
So it could be 6 teams from the West and 2 teams from the East.
I don't fucking even know what's happening here. It says the 8 teams with the best records in those games, in the cup games, would advance to single elimination tournament in December. So I'm assuming what will happen is throughout November, certain fixtures will be labeled as cup fixtures. So whoever has the best record, you can have the bottom seed potentially win 10 of those cup games, and they will advance to a single elimination tournament in December against the other 7 teams, for example, that are involved. They will then compete in cup games, which count towards the schedule. other 22 teams will continue with their fixture. So prize, what's the prize going to be? I don't know. It's home court advantage. I don't know. Extra money. I don't know.
I don't know where the NBA is going with this. I think it's all a bit farcical.
I don't know,
reckon.
man.
I think they're going to try this, and it won't be around for long. It doesn't sound good, And at the end of the day, if you're a professional athlete, professional basketball player in the NBA, the main goal is to win the NBA championship. None other than that. All this stuff in between, it's all rubbish. Best record counts for nothing. This little in-season tournament would probably count for nothing as well, in my opinion. So, look, I don't like it. I don't like the play-in tournament as well, but that's
here to stay. We thought that was going to get scrapped. How wrong we were on that. It's funny how no one wants to play in, but that's what they want to keep. I guess like the teams that are the fringe teams are pretty happy about it because their team can make playoffs still. But I just reckon it's just rewarding mediocrity, if you ask me.
Well, it's rewarding bad management, bad playing, because sometimes records reflect, the guys who are healthy throughout the season, but also that reflects your list management in not being able to have a squad that can carry when you get some key injuries throughout the year. Which happens to everyone in the NBA. It's a long, grueling season. There are injuries. It's going to happen. You got to have a good squad. So, yeah, look, I don't.
That's
like
a wait and see. I don't either.
Exactly. Yeah.
What are they going to call it?
What could they potentially incentivize the players with that's going to make them want to play harder in those games? I don't know.
I don't ever want to make a joke, to be honest, because I don't know. They can buy anything they want with the money that they get paid. So I don't know. Unless
we know if James Harden wins, where that money's going.
Yeah, I know. But potentially, I don't know, home court advantage. That's what they do in the baseball All-Star game. The winner gets home field advantage in the World Series. Do they do the same thing? But then again, the teams that win those games might not be a team that makes it to the finals. Or do they say if an East team wins, then whoever the East team is that makes the finals gets a home court advantage, but then the team that wins gets incentivized with other things? I have no idea.
I don't think it will be anything of that nature. And honestly, if they change that, you'd be pretty upset. It has to be some sort of monetary.
Yeah, it has to be. Let's get to the chat quickly.
They don't earn enough, but anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Global, glad to have you in. Anthony, I did see that message in the live with Butters. I really apologize. I couldn't get to it, but Saucy and I will see if we can get there. Hey, Maddie, how you going? Global says more bottoms on seats equals more dollars. Well, it's going to be the same thing, Global. It's just a regular season game, just with a cup title to it. So it's not extra games.
Mate,
one extra game.
The thing that the NBA has done that's going to allow more access is lower the cost of the NBA League Pass significantly. Dom, I'm not sure if you're aware, but now here in Australia, it's closer to around the $150 mark per year for the
$150.
Yep. So it
for
was
for the full thing.
Year, for the full thing, closer to that, around that number.
Really?
So they've I know that they cut the cost for American subscribers, and I wasn't sure whether it was a worldwide thing, but I believe it is. And I have found out that they have cut it significantly, and I'm pretty sure it's under $200 because it was close to 400 or over 400 previously a year.
I might actually just buy it normally.
Well, I have been told that I believe it's cut down to. I will double check it now.
Matty Tabe says, "I'll have a pie at the Adelaide show, and he needs some sauce, baby." So he wants you down there. He says fully booked, 85 tables. We might have to get there.
Sounds awesome.
85 tables.
Yeah, I'm keen, Dom.
Matt says he does just the 8 games a month. let's be honest, 8 games a month. I'm not sure how much that costs you, Matty, but if they've significantly reduced it, it'd be good. Oh, Anthony says, have a PSG box on the way as well. Stay tuned for possible big live opening. Very nice. PSG box. All right, while you find that source, I think
Big cards.
we will start to move on. I can look it up when what have I done when we get to UFC if need be. Don't stress. Let's move on to the Prem. Her Majesty the Queen passed obviously last week, so full fixtures were postponed over in England. They will be rescheduled at a later date. So we now move into this week's games, and starting on Saturday, we've got Villa, Southampton, Nottingham Forest, Fulham, Wolves, City. Sunday is Newcastle, Bournemouth, Spurs, Leicester, Brentford, Arsenal, Everton, West Ham. And then there's a bit of a break after that, but I thought I saw United was playing. Let me have a look at this. I thought I saw United was playing at 11 p.m. Let's have a look. What's going on here? Match day 8, 17th of September. So they've rescheduled some of the games from last week. So I'll read it off my phone. Aston Villa, Southampton, Nottingham Forest, Fulham, Wolves, City, Brighton, Palace, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Tottenham, Leicester, Brentford, Arsenal, United, Leeds, Everton, West Ham, and Chelsea versus a Liverpool source Monday morning in a ring-a-ding-ding. So, big one there. All right.
Yeah. So,
on the Prem.
Yeah, quick article that I found here on the streamable.com does state, it was an article written on the 31st of August, that they decreased for US-based subscribers to like $9.99 a month. So works out to, $100 for the year. That was previously costed at $230 USD for the year. So that's come down a hell of a lot to now be $100. It's more than 50% cut. And the reason that they did this was because of the likes of other streaming services like ESPN Plus, also MLB being cheaper than them. So they wanted to be able to compete with their prices, so they've decreased it. So good for the fans.
Great result.
Yeah, exciting. So I believe, as I said, if it's 100 USD, it would be close to around 150 to 160 AUD. So I believe that is the case.
Very nice. All right, Saucy, we'll get to Champions League because I didn't even know it was on till you told me just before we went live. So what's happened this morning? I've got the results here. I'll read them out and you can give me a bit of an insight. So Sporting 2-0 winners over Tottenham.
Big upset. Lisbon are always strong at home. Tottenham, I watched a bit of the game last week against Marseille. They weren't too impressive. They did, end up getting the win at home, 2-0. All reports in this game. Oh, look, I didn't really catch much of it. Only caught glimpses because I was focused on the Bayern Munich and Barcelona game. But all reports that Tottenham didn't play well at all, and the front three did not sync up very well. So, look, not good for Tottenham. That really throws a spanner into the works into that group there. You also had Frankfurt defeating Marseille 1-0 in that group. So Marseille now have 2 losses and are probably going to find it very, very difficult to get through this group, and that's a pretty shocking loss. That's a win at home, Marseille, that they probably should have sewn up against Frankfurt, but they weren't able to. Look, I still like Tottenham, and I'm probably leaning towards Sporting going through in that group. But Tottenham need to show up next game.
Definitely. Then Inter defeated Victoria Pleasant 2-0, which is guaranteed.
Yeah, regulation.
Interesting result here. Bayer Leverkusen defeat Atletico Madrid 2-0. Home game for Bayer Leverkusen.
good win for them because I believe that they haven't started too well in the league. So to come back and get that W was, or to come into the Champions League and get that win over a strong Atletico Madrid side is good for them. That blows that group open. I'm trying to suss out the table here if I can find it somewhere and see what it's looking like. So that puts in that group there. It's funny enough, you got Club Brugge, who's on top with 2 wins, and we'll get to that game in a second. But that group is wide open. Bayer Leverkusen, Atletico Madrid. Anyone could take it out from here. And Club Brugge has started like a house on fire, winning both of their first 2 games. They defeated Porto this morning, FC Porto, the Portuguese side, away from home, 4-0. Doma. Let me tell you, on the odds. The odds were, and I stayed away from this game, FC Porto were $1.40 by the bookies to win this game. Just goes to show the world of sport and football, anything can happen. And Club Brugge is having one of those runs that we see every year in the Champions League. There's one of these teams that, is not in one of the major 4 leagues or 5 leagues, and they pop out of nowhere, I think, and they go on these runs. I think last year it might have been a team called Bodo Glimt from Norway. They went on an amazing run and caused some big upsets, I believe, in the Champions League. So there's those teams that happen. It happens every year, and it looks like Club Brugge is that team, and they're really shaking up Group B. As I said, they're sitting on top with 2 wins, and in that group also you had the Leverkusen defeating Atletico Madrid. So it blows it wide open. I think FC Porto is going to have to go flawless from here. They're going to have to win their remaining 4 games if they have any chance of potentially getting out of this group. But I'm leaning towards Atletico Madrid. I think they'll turn it around, and the Club Brugge, because Atletico Madrid always find a way in Champions League to advance out of the group stage, and Club Brugge is looking very good, in my opinion, with 2 wins on the trot.
Very nice. Next up, Liverpool bounced back after their horrific loss last week, defeating Ajax 2-1. And the last game was obviously the one that you were very interested in and you watched quite closely, which was Bayern Munich versus Barcelona. So tell us what happened. What unraveled in this one?
There we go. Anthony's correcting me. Our Ajax last year, stand to be corrected. There's always a team that comes out there. Bodo Glimt did it in the Europa League, I believe. So, quick touch on the Liverpool game. Expected them to bounce back. Ajax aren't the team that they were last year. They've lost some players. I expected them to win this game. Actually did have them in a multi to win it over 2.5, so I was on the money. Expecting them. They are starting to find a bit more form. I think they do look better. They look better with Jota up front, in my personal opinion. I just don't think Nunes has molded into that spot just yet. But Jota coming back from injury. So, taking it easy. Only played 66 minutes this morning. They looked good. They probably could have had more goals on the board, in my opinion. But nonetheless, good bounce back win after getting absolutely pantsed last week, which, was a surprising result, if you ask me, the way they got beat against Napoli. All right, Doma, the big game this morning, this is why I got up at 5 a.m., was to tune in to Bayern Munich against Barcelona. Lewandowski returns home, and he should have had 2 goals in the first half. And Barcelona, should have been up at halftime. They didn't take their chances, and typical game of football. The old saying, Doma, it's a game of 2 halves. It truly was, because in the second half, Bayern Munich couldn't even were struggling to get out of their half. Barcelona was dominating. Pedri and Gavi were running amok in that midfield, but they didn't take their chances. Neuer made a couple of good saves. Pedri missed a chance in the first half. And second half, Bayern Munich came out and they were just much more clinical. They were able to press and get the ball further up the pitch. And the goal by Leroy Sané, that second goal, boy, oh boy, what an absolute cracker. Amazing run. The way he just spread and picked up the ball in midfield and then just glided past players and finished it straight past to Stegen. It was a wonderful finish. Anthony Pedri did miss an absolute sitter. He missed a little chip in the second half over the top of Neuer, and it hit the post. Probably, should it was 1-on-1 with the keeper. Should have scored it. But football is a game of chances, and when you don't take those chances against the best sides in the world, you get punished. And 2-0, it looks like a bad scoreline for Barcelona, but they didn't play all that bad. I think, I expect the return leg. I think, Barcelona being at home, I'd expect them to win the return leg. There's not too much between these two sides, and I really think that both of these sides have a very, very good chance at winning the Champions League this year. It's Bayern Munich and Barcelona, for me, still coming out of this group. Inter Milan, they're the other team in there that has a chance, but definitely Bayern Munich now that they won their first two, and Barcelona, I like the way they're playing. Xavi's got a nice system going there, and Lewandowski up front provides that bit of class, which unfortunately today he couldn't finish off the chances that that were put on the plate for him, but I think he will in future games.
Very nice. We'll get to some of the games tomorrow. We got Milan versus Dinamo Zagreb, Shakhtar Donetsk against Ange Postecoglou's Celtic, Chelsea versus Salzburg, FC Copenhagen versus Sevilla, Juventus versus Benfica, Maccabi Haifa versus Paris Saint-Germain, Man City versus Borussia Dortmund, Glasgow Rangers versus Napoli, and Real Madrid versus RB Leipzig with our boy Timo Werner, Super Timo. And then on Friday, Europa, we got FC Sheriff versus Manchester United, who beat Man United in Champions League pre-Ronaldo return. Feyenoord versus Sturm Graz. Milan versus Lazio. Monaco, Ferencvaros. Olympiacos versus Freiburg. Qarabag versus Nantes. Real Sociedad, who defeated United last week, against Ammonia Nicosia. I can't say this one. Trabzonspor versus FK Crvena Zvezda. I sounded like you now. The Arsenal versus PSV Eindhoven game has got a scratching through it. It's postponed, so you're not playing, so you can tune in and watch United play. And then there's Bodo Glimt against FC Zurich, Braga versus Union Berlin, Dinamo Kiev, AEK Larnaca, Real Betis versus Ludogorets Razgrad, Rennes versus Fenerbahce, Roma versus HJK. It's HJK. And then Union Saint Gilloise versus Malmo FF, which is, of course, where Zlatan Ibrahimovic started his career at Malmo. So,
good old Malmo.
That's what we got there for the soccer sauce or football.
No, you better not stop saying soccer, mate. Because I'll tell you,
trouble on TikTok.
I know, I seen on TikTok.
Did you see that?
Drilling you. You say, how can you talk about this? How can you talk about this sport when you address it as soccer? Well, buddy,
mate, did you see my response?
If you say something is football in Australia, it goes by two other games: Australian rules football or rugby league football. People all can shoot.
And then you got football, round ball football, which is soccer. And then because we talk about American football, we talk about, did you watch the football? It's American football, mate. Everything's called bloody football here. Anyway,
that's why I like to call it.
That's why
football, mate. Football or the world game. We'll roll that one off the tongue. But old mate on TikTok, just calm down a bit, buddy. Just understand the culture before you have a go, brother. Understand
exactly. Anthony says Sane looks in career best form at the moment, both in Champions League and the league. But how good has Musiala been? Honestly, best young player. He's a very, very good player. Before we do move on, did you see Gavi this morning, his contract? So,
No.
There's a $1 billion release clause on Gavi.
Well, I'd put 3 billion on Pedri because Pedri's better than Gavi. I'll tell you that. I watched them both this morning. Pedri is unbelievable. Oh, he's just such a joy to watch.
We actually spoke about this off camera like last week, and it's genuinely Iniesta and Xavi again. Like they've picked up another like Iniesta and Xavi combo. Barcelona.
rebuild.
Yeah, exactly. It's very funny. All right, let's move on to the F1 and different week. Different we had Monza this week. He was in Italy. It wasn't in Netherlands. It's just a different location. Same old shit. Max Verstappen wins this one on top, finishes under a safety car, and post-race source, there was a lot of stuff about this is how it should have finished last year in Abu Dhabi. The races are meant to finish this way, all this type of stuff, because obviously Hamilton was robbed, as they say, in that last race. And it made for a nice big finish. But Verstappen was too good. Just managed a lot better, clearly, because his team is a lot better. Charles Leclerc finished, where are we? Finished in second, followed by Georgie Russell. And the rest of the grid was Carlos Sainz in fourth. Lewis Hamilton finished fifth. Perez in sixth. Then Lando Norris, Pierre Gasly, Nick De Vries, who jumped in replace of Alex Albon, who was having appendix surgery, I'm pretty sure, and Zhou Guan Yu round out the top 10. So interesting stuff there, Source, but great to see that Ferrari butchered this again. Early pit. They butchered it, but it was going to work in their favor. But then Daniel Ricciardo's car lost complete power, and then the race finished under a safety car. But in saying that, the safety car put him back in that position to win. You're muted. It put you in the position for Leclerc to win. But when they put the softs on, he wasn't getting anything out of Max Verstappen's lead, which was 19 seconds. And there was 7 laps left. And he'd cut out 3 seconds off 5 previous laps. He wasn't going to catch him. Like he had the 16-second lead. He was literally taking 2/10 or a tenth off every lap.
But they got the strategy wrong, Doma. After starting on pole,
they did.
They got it wrong. Pitting him off on the first safety car after 14 laps was complete wrong strategy. Everyone got their tires, even on the softs, got them to 22, 24 laps on the softs from the beginning. And the guys on the medium got it well into the 30 laps. Got it completely wrong. And it's what we've expected from Ferrari. Every week, they somehow find a way to stuff up one of their drivers, if not both of their drivers.
It was just
got
poo.
It's got to the point where, you'd feel so sorry for Ferrari fans out there that just, have hope every week. Especially the Kings of Quali. That's what they've been this season, the Kings of Quali. They do so well in qualifying, and come race day, they cocks it all up. Not the first time.
Just remember, Charles Leclerc has more career pole positions than Max Verstappen, yet Max Verstappen is world champion. And won more races. It's just funny, how it works, isn't it? It's just very, very funny. It's an interesting tale of the tape for those two. So the next race source is Singapore, and that is not until the 30th of September. So we've got a bit of a break now, 2 weeks in between races.
That will be that's usually a night race.
Yes, it is.
Singapore.
Usually.
Might
and then
not be
after
a bad
that,
time for us.
Yeah, it might be all right. It might be an early one for us. Maybe a 10 o'clock or a 9 o'clock start, which would be lovely. I won't lie. It'd be quite nice. And then I think the week after is the Japanese Grand Prix. So we'll keep you posted on that source. All right, moving on. NFL week 1 delivered. It definitely did, source.
A lot of upsets, which we're used to seeing in week 1. I think, someone, mentioned, has anyone seen some of the crazy results in NFL? it's standard. Week one, you get these sort of results. I mean, you get them every week, but especially in week one. And there was a few teams there that lost that probably shouldn't have, and were heavy favoured. And I'll tell you what, I'm glad I didn't put a multi on this week because I would have lost.
Nah,
Because some
you
of those
can't
teams
go
in
week one.
it's
Week
it
one's
was too
very
difficult.
difficult.
I said, you know what? I had won money on the soccer on the Saturday. I said I'm gonna cut. I'm just gonna quit while I'm ahead
Just
this
relax.
weekend
Yeah,
and
just
not rolling
relax
into
on
the Monday morning NFL. And I'm very happy because I would have lost because what I wanted to put in
So
there got done.
it all started with the opening game, Bills Rams, and the Bills came out and just hammered LA, just hammered them. Josh Allen
Yeah,
put on a clinic. They gave him a bath. They
26
win that one
from
31-10.
31, nearly 300
Yeah,
yards, 3 TDs. He led them in rushing yards as well. Josh Allen had an absolute game, balled out. The Rams, didn't have that same rushing threat. Are they going to be able to, get back and be the team that they were last season? Let's see if they have the
a lot of
hunger.
pressure. There's obviously a lot
But
of pressure. And it's very
you know,
hard to repeat.
opening night, I'm sure there was celebrations from the championship, and I don't know if they do an unveiling or something like they do in the NBA. I'm guessing they probably do some sort of celebration. I don't know. I didn't watch the coverage, but yeah, bit of a letdown. But Bills roll along. They're a lock for their division. They're like,
Oh, 100%
100%
they
lock.
are.
So it's just
100%.
a matter of how many games they win.
Next, we had Saints defeating the Falcons by a point, 27-26. Falcons were up 26-10. In Falcons fashion, they choked a lead and got done in this game by a point. Then we had Browns versus Panthers. The Browns rocked up against the Panthers and showed Baker Mayfield why he should have never left. Well, he had no choice, to be honest, but his old football club defeat the Panthers 26-24.
On the road, good
Next
win.
up, Trey Lance, Matty Ice, cold.
Stunk it up.
Matty Ice cold picked the 49ers.
I don't know. Did you see the weather in this game? It was putrid.
Nah.
Like,
Oh, was it?
when I mean putrid, like it was just, I believe so. It was just super
Trey
wet,
Lance struggled. He absolutely
ugly.
struggled in this one.
So yeah, look, probably not really a true reflection, but at the same time, he did go 13 of 28 throwing the ball, which is very, very bad.
So Justin Fields tells him up.
Yeah, Justin Fields got the job done, and he's one of Tyson's boys. He's done a collab with. So congrats to him and the Bears. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, that game. I think the 49ers were off the pace. They should be a lot better than that. But let's see, week 2. It's always difficult. Need 3 or 4 weeks to sort of see where teams are setting. There are also a lot of teams coming into week 1 and 2 that didn't play many snaps together in preseason. So there's a bit of chemistry issues, which all get ironed out in the first few weeks of the true contenders, and then we sort of see who's the teams that are going to be leading the packs.
Definitely. Next up, Steelers defeated Joey B and the Bengals 23-20. A bit of a surprise in this one. Great show up by the Steelers.
Yeah, massive show up. Mitch Trubisky gets the job done. Mitchie T over Joey B, if you don't mind. And, I can't say that there was all Trubisky. A lot of it was on the defense. They forced 4 interceptions on Joey B, so not very good by him. Needs to be better. And it's definitely one game that they should have won, and they've let slide. So, not good start to their division. They need to be better than that. That's a game they shouldn't have lost.
Definitely not. Then Eagles defeated the Lions 38-35. Your boys, the Colts and the Texans, drew 20 apiece. The first draw of the season in week 1.
Absolutely shameful. Had only scored 3 points up to the fourth quarter, and then the fourth quarter decided to make a comeback. Literally played 1 quarter of football and saved literally a point. But if the Colts want to win that division, they need to be better than that. You got to be beating the Texans.
Correct.
There's a lot of improvement. Your boy JT, he killed it. He had 31 carries,
I know he
161
dominated.
yards.
Oh, don't worry. I looked
one
at his
TD.
stats.
He killed it. Yeah. It was, obviously we struggled
He's a
throwing the
gun,
ball,
man.
and then on defense, we need to be better on defense. So
Definitely.
I think, it's not that their quarterback had an amazing game. We just, didn't do enough on our defense to force the issue. And, Matty Ice has got to be better. He's thrown it 50 times and only completed 32. Not the best. Been sacked twice as well. So, yeah, look, Colts have to be better. Texans, good pickup for them. I don't know. I don't expect them to win more than 3 games this season or 4 games. So, maybe that's a sneaky good start for them, but I don't expect much from this season.
Yeah. Dolphins then defeated the Patriots 20-7. We expected this. We spoke about this on our NFL preview show. Then the Ravens defeated the Jets 24-9. Nothing surprised us there. Commanders defeated the Jags 28-22. The Giants defeated the Titans 21-20. We're a bit surprised about that. Then we had the Chiefs slapping the Cardinals and Patrick Mahomes teaching them a footballing lesson. I don't know if you caught his stat source. I think he had a QBR of 144.
Yep, 144 of rating, and then QBR of 94.
His rating was 144.
Passer rating was 144. So he completed 30 of 39 attempts, 5 TDs, if you don't mind. They also rushed for a measly 128 yards. Kelsey had 9 targets for 8 receptions and 121 yards. Big Juju from previously from the Steelers had 79 yards, and it was just an absolute show put on by the Kansas City Chiefs. The Cardinals, I don't know, lacking defense. A lot to improve on. Kyler Murray was disappointing. And yeah, it's a tough feat on your home deck like that to get pants. That's a blowout. 23 points, shellacking. I think the line was only 7 points in this game, or 6 points to the Chiefs, and they got absolutely demolished. So
definitely did. Raiders then lost to Justin Herbert and the Chargers 24-19. Impressive win there for the Chargers. The Packers got slapped against the Vikings, and I'm glad that they did, Sauce, because it's week 1 and we can finally go and play this.
You like
Kirk
that?
Cousins gets the job done, 23-7.
Kirky boy.
Against there you go.
You know what? I've got to bite the bullet, Dom. I'm gonna have to buy some Kirk Cousins cards.
You got to.
He's my favorite quarterback.
He's your boy.
Don't ask me why, ladies and gentlemen. It's just his antics. It's not that I think he's brilliant and he's invest now. Or, Kirk Cousins is the next big thing. He's been around for years. His cards are probably cheap, and he's just I don't know. I just like his mannerisms and the way he goes about things, and I think he's an underrated in a sense that he's a good, solid quarterback. He's nothing special. He's an A- quarterback.
Definitely. Then the next game is the end of the Cowboys season after week 1. Buccaneers defeat them 19-3, and Dak Prescott gets injured and needs surgery and will be out for 4 to 6 weeks, and their season is done already.
And the Philadelphia Eagles, it is your division to now lose.
Yeah.
You should win that. I'm so glad that in my futures multi-domo, I put one variation with the Cowboys and one variation with the Eagles. So I've covered both bases. I don't think the Cowboys are going to do anything now because we've seen how putrid they were without Dak Prescott before. So we've seen this story before. Out for 9 weeks. I'd be surprised if they even get a win in those.
Is it 9 weeks?
Yeah, 8 weeks. He's out for a while.
Oh, I thought it was 4 to 6. Maybe
no, I think he's out for 8
8
weeks. Yeah, I think he's out for 8 weeks.
Oh, they're finished. Their season's done anyway, regardless.
Yeah, 9 weeks. I'm pretty sure. I'll Google it right now.
And then the last game, Matty Cams, who's just jumped in. His boys, the Seahawks, defeat the Broncos 17-16. Russell Wilson loses his first game with the Broncos, and the Broncos lost this one for themselves. They had 2 3-yard fumbles, the Broncos,
Yeah.
in this game, and
Quick,
choked it.
quick note before we move on, then we'll talk about that. It says 4 to 6 week generally for a finger injury, but to get the full range of motion, and I think it might be on his throwing hand, so it's going to disrupt him. It's not going to be 4 to 6 weeks. You're going to need 8 to 10 weeks to get that full range of
They're
motion,
done.
the same strength
They're
and grip
done.
in that in that hand. So
They're done.
yeah, they're done. But good win by the Seahawks. Geno Smith, you got to love you got to just have joy for a guy that understands where his career is in the NFL, understands that nothing's ever been given to him. And he's just like, I just came here, I got another opportunity, pretty much, said, oh, I'm ready to work, believe myself, believe in the team, believe in the guys, the coaching staff. And, they went out there and got the win. Who would have thought scoring no points in the second half of a game could get you the win? I think it's more that the Seahawks defense in that game reigned supreme, as you mentioned, the 2 fumbles on the goal line. But even that's being said, Russell Wilson had the ball in his hands, 4th and 5 at about the 53-4-yard line. Could have gone for it, decided to go for the 60-plus yard kick, which in my opinion, is a complete wrong call, as the kicker is previously on 60-plus yarders, 1 of 8. So, Doma, you do the math. He goes at less than 10% on those kicks of hitting. So, they tell me the odds aren't in your favor. You probably should have just tried to go for the 4th and 5 situation, get that other first down. You had still 3 timeouts, burn a timeout, run the ball, burn the timeout, get him into a 45-yarder, 50-yarder, a lot more comfortable kick. They would have won the game. But they did it. Wrong call by the Broncos coaching staff. I don't think that's Russ's call. I think Russ, obviously hasn't been there very long, doesn't want to overstep in his first game to say, oh, I'm making this call. It's the coaching staff, not Russ. But you bring this marquee quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, to your franchise. You got to put the ball and trust that he's going to make the play in that moment. So, or else, why did you bring him and pay him all this money? I think $242 million, I believe someone said. So,
yeah, fair enough. Good point. Matty Cam says Cam Newton to the Cowboys as a replacement. And then he said, everyone wrote me off, but I didn't write back. Quote by Geno Smith. Very nice quote, to be honest. That's actually one of the all-time greats. Everyone wrote me off, but I didn't write back. Very nice, and well done to Geno Smith and the Seahawks. Let's get to week 2, and it's starting with an absolute banger, Sauce. We've got Chargers at Chiefs on Friday, 10:15. I'll be kicking my feet up and watching this one. It's going to be a ripper. Justin Herbert versus Patrick Mahomes.
This will be a good game.
It's just going to be great. I've got nothing else to say.
At Arrowhead Stadium.
At Arrowhead. It's at Arrowhead. We're just going to run through the games. No tips by us. We'll just run through them. Dolphins.
If I do put a multi out on the Sunday evening or whatever, I'll chuck it out on my social. So
screenshot it
on there.
Yeah, put it out on there. Gamble responsibly, of course, as we always say. Then we got Dolphins at Ravens, another great game there. Jets at Browns, which is a bit poo. Commanders at Lions, and I think the Lions might actually win this one, Sauce, against the Commanders. They played very well against Philly, and that was one of the teams Matty Cam said, don't be surprised if they surprise a lot of people this year. Colts at Jags. So your boys, you need to get on the board. Must win. You got to get on the board. Buccaneers at Saints. Panthers at Giants. Patriots at Steelers. Falcons at Rams. Seahawks at 49ers. Bengals at Cowboys. Texans at Broncos. Cardinals at Raiders. Bears at Packers. Titans at Bills. And the Vikings at Eagles, which is another great game. So we look forward to those bad boys coming up this week. All right, Sauce, over to you, because in what was you put a TikTok out. If you're not following us on TikTok, you got to get on there because we do a lot of reaction videos on there when things go a bit astray, like it did with this UFC card before it even kicked off.
So if you've been living under a rock, the UFC 279, headlined by Nate Diaz and Khamzat Chimaev, was the previous main event. But come weight day, Chimaev was overweight, so they restructured the card. There's been a lot said over this, whether Chimaev should have been pulled from the card entirely. And, he's obviously, if you don't make weight, you do lose part of your purse. So you do lose part of your fighter's pay for that bout. But obviously he still fronted up and was then facing Kevin Holland in the co-main event, which I'll just say now, he absolutely demolished him, defeated him in the first round, submitted him.
In the first minute.
It's crazy. First few minutes of the fight only lasted 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. I think this is 5 or 6 fights now where Doma, he hasn't taken any hits.
He's only taken 2 hits in his whole career in the UFC.
Well, the most hits he's ever had in a fight was against Gilbert Burns, when Gilbert Burns was able to defend his takedowns.
Up until Gilbert Burns, he'd only taken 2 hits.
Yeah. So this is another fight where he literally didn't take a strike against him. He just took Kevin Holland to the ground and ragdolled him and submitted him. I'm not saying it's easy, but he's just that much of a freak of nature that he makes guys like Kevin Holland, who coming into this fight, I believe was on a 3-fight win streak, made it look far easier than what it should have been, in my opinion. Kevin Holland was clearly dejected after.
They fight 170. Is it 170 that they fight at?
Yeah, catch weight.
It was funny because Joe Rogan asked Chimaev after the fight, because obviously he weighed in at 176 pounds.
Yeah, he was 8 pounds over, 178 or something.
Yeah, whatever it was. He goes, would you fight at 170 or 180? And he goes, I'll fight in both weight classes and I'll kill everyone in both weight classes. That's what he said. He goes, I'll fight. He goes, I'll win the belts in both. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I understand. But credit to Joe Rogan because he asked the question, are you going to be able to make that weight? Because it's going to, if you don't make the weight, it's going to affect if you fight for a title. You're not going to be able to fight for the title. And
not even that source. You know what happens if you don't make weight as the champ? You have to vacate the title.
Correct.
And people fight for it anyway, and you're not in that fight. They fight for a vacated title. So he did make a valid point, and yeah, you hit the nail on the head. He's not afraid to ask that hard question, Joe Rogan, and that was the question that everyone probably wanted answered. Are you going to even be able to step in the octagon?
There has been reports of his trainer coming out on the Errol Hawani MMA show. Chimaev's trainers and saying the doctor came in and seen the way he was and said, you need to stop cutting weight. You need to drink some water. And so obviously he drank water, and that obviously rehydrated him, and that's where he put on the weight. And, the doctor said, you need to do it or else, this is not good for your body. But, make of it what you will. I think it's so crazy the way that they do the whole weight cutting system. If you're not familiar how it all works, they pretty much dehydrate their whole body 24 hours before the fight to make weight. And then they rehydrate their body. So, guys weighing in at 170 come fight night, they're literally weighing 185. And going in there at 185, they've put on 15 pounds in the space of, 24 hours. They eat a meal and rehydrate. And, it brings them back to that weight. I think it's so crazy that they're not modifying this. And I can't see how that is really good for your body. And when you're not actually fighting at that weight, I don't see how it makes sense. So I think it's something that it's going to take a bit of time, but it's something that's happening in other MMA organizations where they're doing. You weigh in and you get like a hydration test on your blood or something, and it's in your body needs to be a certain level of hydration in your blood stream before you go the weigh in, and then you go the weigh in and you make the weight. so that you're not literally weighing in where you have like 5 or 10% of water in your body, not which is what they do now. So I think that system will be changed eventually. But that fight comes out, he dominated Kevin Holland. You had also on the main event, the main card, you had the light heavyweight Johnny Walker defeating Ion Kutaleba in the light heavyweight. First round submission. That's a good win by Johnny Walker. Good comeback by him. Irina Aldana defeated Macy Chiasen in women's catchweight KO in the third round. You had Li Jing Liang defeated by Daniel Rodriguez, third round decision. I did say Daniel Rodriguez is the better fighter, and he did prove that. It was very even after round 1, but then round 2 and 3, Rodriguez put on the volume and was able to secure the win. Already spoke about the co-main event. Khamzat got the W over Kevin Holland, and then the main event, the man we came to see against, this was a good fight, Dom. Nate Diaz against Tony Ferguson, two absolute veterans in the sport. I'm not sure if you were aware, Doma, but this was Nate Diaz's last fight left on his contract. So he's now officially uncontracted MMA fighter. And I believe he's stepping away from UFC for a little bit to do his other endeavors. I think one of them being creating his own organization or being part of a newly formed fighting organization that's going to promote fights, and whether that's MMA or boxing, I don't know yet, Doma. But that's what he's doing now. Talking on the fight, I thought Tony Ferguson would get the win just because he was the fresher fighter, but he had more fights recently. But Nate Diaz in the end got the submission in the fourth round. It was Tony's fight. Tony was doing more damage, in my opinion. I think at that, up to that point, it was 3 rounds to 1 to Tony Ferguson. Up until that point, until he got him in the submission. I'm sorry, 2 rounds to 1, and then in the fourth round got him in the submission. But even early in that fourth round, Ferguson looked the better fighter. He was doing a lot of damage with the leg kicks. He was landing punches. Nate Diaz was landing, but Tony had good evasive skills. But just goes to show that all that training for Khamzat to take him down and get him on the floor paid off in the end. Nate Diaz is no no slouch when it comes to going in on the floor and BJJ. He's very good at that and was able to get the submission with a choke. And Tony Ferguson had to tap, but he'll be back. Tony Ferguson and Nate Diaz, we're yet to see where he goes, but he's him with Conor McGregor and really elevated. He was one of the key guys, as well as Conor McGregor and a few other guys, really elevated UFC to where it is today, and probably brought a lot more eyes onto the sport in a period of 3 to 4 years, probably 5 years back, 5-6 years ago. So the UFC probably couldn't be where they are today without Nate Diaz. And I'll say that confidently because he's brought a lot of eyes to the sport, just the way he goes about it. And he's literally doesn't give a fuck attitude. I think a lot of people resonate with that. And he got the win on the way out of the UFC. He did say he'll be back when that is. We don't know. But congrats, Nate Diaz. And UFC, that concludes UFC 279, which was absolutely crazy. The whole thing about it was crazy. From the weigh-ins to the fights. The fights were good. The Khamzat fight was probably a bit underwhelming, but it's what you expect. You do see those quick finishes with him. But this weekend, there is a fight night. It's UFC Fight Night. Corey Sandhagen against Song Yadong, bantamweight main event, and the co-main event, Chidi Nukaini against Gregory Rodriguez is the co-main event in the middleweight division. And then there's a number of other bouts, but that kicks off from 9 a.m. this Sunday, and that'll be free on ESPN. So feel free to tune in anyone they want to.
Very nice. Well done, Saucy. Let's move on. Actually, before we do that, James says, good evening. Wondering if we're doing NFL all-day NFTs.
Nope.
I'm not. Saucy, no.
Nah.
And on that note, let's get to Hobby Talk, brought to you by Platinum Standard Grading. Thanks again to the crew at Platinum Standard Grading. Bulk Sub is open. Send your cards through and we'll get them shipped off for you to PSG. Source, I played that because when we play that and head into Hobby Talk, that means that the Le Mans of the week, more than likely, is going to fall somewhere to someone that is in the hobby. And this person is new to this segment. And as we've said before, actually, I really don't. We never have really anything against anyone when it's Le Mans of the week, as it is a gag award to give to people. I actually don't mind this person. I reckon he's a very smart guy and he says a lot of smart things. But something came across socials. It was posted by someone, and I was like, he can't have said this. It can't be him.
You thought it was false for a second. You had to go
I thought it was,
find
I
the
had
source.
To double, triple, quadruple, quintuple check everything. Make sure I was not seeing things. I even rubbed my eye source. I rubbed them. I'm like, come on, change. I wanted the text to change because I reckon this guy's very good. His company, on the other hand, has received a lemon before.
It has.
That company's only alt, and the person I'm talking about is CEO and creator Lior Avida. So he said, I'll just go through this because I was a bit shocked, but I wanted Sauls to get the reaction to some of these. So I've gone to the Twitter thread. This is on 776, the Twitter page. They've obviously interviewed Lior. He said, I know that the world is moving more towards those alternative assets. I want to be the company where we understand those assets, and I do believe that there's where the future is. Lior, obviously, as I said, is a part of Only Alt. This is the one where it gets a bit interesting. Founder and CEO of Alt XYZ official, Lior, believes that in 10 years, when people buy homes, they won't buy with cash. They'll be buying with sports cards, sneakers, Birkin bags, or NFTs. Now, I really hope, Lior, that this is sarcasm and you were taking the absolute piss out of 776 in this interview going, fuck, I'm going to put some Doma double coverage sarcasm in my answers because that's some type of shit I would have said just to piss people off. That could potentially be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. So we're going to go back to the barter system, are we, in the next 10 years? That's what you're telling me. The civilization as we know it is going to be finished. They'll be buying houses, Source, with sports cards, sneakers, Birkin bags, and NFTs. I'm assuming that you mean private sales. So I want to sell my house here now, and I say, for example, I want $1 million. But I just want people to listen to this if this is a private sale, all right?
Oh, you've got the house.
You've got the house. I'm gonna act. Let's act this out.
I've got the house. I've got a house.
Be double coverage foreplay, not in the bedroom, but
I've got the house. $1 million mansion, Domo. $1 million mansion. You want to buy it from me?
Saucy, I like your house. How you going, Mr. Sauce? I want to buy your house now. All right, I'm gonna offer you. All right. A couple pairs of Jordans. I'm going to give you 3 PSA 10 Jordan rookie cards. And, 3 pairs of Jordan sneakers. And I've got these 3 NFTs that are from so-and-so. These are CryptoPunks. And this is the total of 1.1 million. So 100 grand more. All right. Saucy, would you take this deal?
No.
Why not? You're giving me a house in shelter and you're going to be homeless, but at least you've got 3
Hang
Jordan
on.
rookies
Well, this is in 10 years' time, right? So in 10
in 10
years' time,
years.
hang on. Hang on. Can I take those 3 crypto pugs, those 4 pairs of Jordans or whatever you give me, and those 3 Michael Jordan PSA 10 86 Fleer rookie card? Or was it 86? We're talking 86 or we're talking the star? We're talking 86 Fleer,
Isn't
right?
there like 5? We'll just
I
go
don't
with
know.
the 86. Anyway.
Oh, we're talking the Nike promo. That's the one that old
Oh,
mate
yeah,
Ken was
sorry.
pumping up on the TV, wasn't it? As the true
86.
rookie.
We'll just go 86.
86? All right, 86. Can I take that as the 1.1 million and can I go get loan against those assets and buy another investment property in 10 years? Because at the moment you can't do that. So unless the banks come along or there's a new bank that recognizes World Bank or banks that pop up that recognize those assets in sneakers, shoes, cards, NFTs as assets that can be borrowed against, this has got to be, Doma, one of the most stupidest takes of all time.
Listen.
That's the way I'm
It gets
thinking.
better. It gets better, right? TechCrunch writes an article. This is from Greg Kumparak. This was on July 21st this year, actually. So a couple months ago. Alt gets into lending to let you borrow money against your trading card collection. We've written a platform that helps trading card collectors. This week, after a few months of quiet testing, the company is announcing a new product, Alt Advance. The idea, if you've got a rare, valuable trading card stored with Alt, they want you to be able to borrow money against them. Alt has the insight on how much a given card collection is worth and how much its value tends to fluctuate over time, and already offers secure card storage as part of your other products, putting them in a unique position to do something like this. If you have stocks, bonds, real estate, even crypto now, it's easy for you to go and take your assets, deposit them somewhere that custodies them and get a loan against it. Alt founder Lior Avida tells me, we want to do this exact same thing.
Wow.
It's an early testing phase. Alt was funding the loans from its own balance sheet. Now that it's starting to scale the product up, the company has closed a $200 million debt line with alternative investment advisory firm Atalaya. To be clear, the process here is a bit more involved than saying, hey, I've got a first-gen Charizard in a box somewhere. Money, please. You've got to get your cards graded by a group like PSA or BGS, a process that helps verify authenticity. Once graded, you can send the cards to Alt's vault temperature, humidity, and lighting controlled facility to keep the card safe. Once vaulted, a card is added to your Alt portfolio, at which point it can be shown off as part of your verified collection, sold on Alt's exchange, or now borrowed up against. Alt says they'll currently allow collectors to borrow up to 40% of their portfolio's value for up to 12 months at an interest rate of 10%, 9 to 10%. The company notes that they see people using this liquidity largely for shorter term loans, think bridge loans to help secure a real estate purchase. So they've allowed them to be paid off early without fees. Anyway, I'll put this in here. Just fuck.
Drop the article in. Give it a read, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's so crazy.
What's better? Matty Cam says, "What's better in hand? A card worth 250K or 250K cash?" And James says, "Investor card already gives cash loans if you give cards as collateral."
Yeah, and he charged. You know what his interest rate is? It's like 25% or some bullshit. This is fucking highway robbery, not fucking loan. That's a fucking robbery.
I understand we say, oh, we got to move away from banks, and there's like obviously lenders out there, and there's different ways to get loans, and I understand that. But I understand banks have all the power, but we're now going to start trusting all these third-party companies to start giving loans because a bank won't touch them to give you a loan on them to purchase a home. I don't know.
I
If the bank
just
is not willing to
question-
give you a loan, don't you stop and think and question that? If a bank, the sole purpose of a bank is to make money. Even if they put a 25% interest rate on that, like on a card, for example, to pay it off, the fact that they won't do that tells me that it's not in the best interest for them to make money. Because an asset like that fluctuates so much, people will not be able to sell it and give back that entirety of value to the bank. So the bank either break evens or makes more money out of it. That's what it tells me.
Imagine you had 50 Zion PSA 10 base prisons when they were going for 1K each, and you took collateral against that at 1K a pop.
And the bank's saying, oh, you've got to give us 20% interest monthly on that total value of 100 grand.
And now you
20
go sell all those, you won't get nowhere near that. You have to sell freaking 4 of them to get 1K.
Yeah, but you've got to still pay all the difference back. And every month that interest accumulates. And the interest source, for people that are listening, the interest is usually on the original like terms that you've agreed upon. Yeah, you work it down like a loan, but if that starts getting out of hand and you default on payments, that increases. It just lump sums on top of each other when you default. And then the interest rate comes out off the default payment. So if you don't pay off the first one, 100 grand loan, and you default, and it goes up to 105, 110, 120, 130, 150, you're still paying that interest rate on 150 grand a month. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you know what they do? They repossess your cards. I don't know what they're going to do when they repossess your cards. Flush them down the toilet. I know what they can do when they repossess your home. They can sell it and actually make money back, a bank. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe we're speaking
they can liquidate your cards. I mean, it's probably what, InvestorCard does is liquidate the cards and get part of the money back, sell it. But yeah, it's pretty funny. I think, because of that, that's an outlandish statement to say within 10 years that if I've got $1 million card collection, I can go get a loan from somewhere and get $1 million cash in that and go buy a house.
Well, who knows? In 10 years' time, Source, we all could be living in pods, and all we're spending our money on is living in a virtual reality world where all we need is a place, like literally a room as big as my study, where there's a toilet, a shower, and a bed. And all you do is you just link in every day, and then the rest of the time is you just go out and you walk around. That's it. That literally could be people's lives in 10 years' time. But to our thinking here on the Double Coverage podcast, we don't think it's going to be like that. So, Lior, as much as we love you, we think you're a very brilliant person. You're a very smart guy. That is one of the worst takes I reckon I've ever heard, personally. And for that, sir, you are this week's
Lemon! Leo de Lemon.
James said buying Jordans in the metaverse. I'm going to wear Jordan 1 sneakers in the metaverse. The pixels.
I'm only going to wear Fugazi ones.
I can't wait till there's an AliExpress in the metaverse. Just get rip off shit in the metaverse and start fleecing people. Hope all the ID tags and codes and stuff are all up to date when the metaverse stuff starts happening. But anyway, let's move on, Source. Let's get into some hobby topics. Let's get this up. This one here. Very interesting. Derek Jeter, Yankees legend, expanded his business portfolio on Thursday with the launch of Arena Club, a new sports card collecting platform. Jeter is a founding partner of the business with Brian Lee, who was the co-founder and president of LegalZoom.com and the managing partner of venture capital fund BAM Ventures since 2017. He says, I am proud to be a part of the team at Arena Club and work closely with Brian to bring this innovative platform to life. Jeter said in a press release, we recognize that there is a real need in the grading industry for clarity, speed, and trust. and Brian has put together a team that is committed to providing that to the marketplace. Arena Club intends to bridge between traditional sports card collecting and modern digital sports collectibles. Collectors can buy, sell, trade, and display their cards through Arena Club's digital showroom. Cards graded through Arena Club can either be stored in the Arena Club vault or can be sent to collectors in traditional slabs. So it's an interesting one, Source. I'll take this down because there's actually images of Arena Club.
I have seen it, and I have seen people posting about it, but I didn't know Derek Jeter was involved.
Yes, he's involved.
I
Yes,
didn't
he's
really.
backed it.
Man, you know what? It got to the point where there's so many, like, you always hear something about another grading company that it's like, how many can
Here's
we
their website.
check up and
Here we
look
go.
into? But when someone of this notoriety is involved, an athlete is getting behind it. I mean, I guess you got to somewhat take it a little bit seriously and have a look at it.
Let's go through their site Source. Why not? We did it with a lot of other grading companies. We might as well have a look at this one. There you go. There's the slab at the front here. Logo. That's the logo. Whoops. QR code on the back label directs to the card detail and Arena Club grading report. Ultra Pro superior quality custom made slabs. Cards are protected in inner sleeves and slab with specialty size card cavity for security. Each card has an Arena Code unique ID, which is displayed on the front of the card's graded label. Graded cards include subgrades for centering, corners, edges, and surfaces, and Arena Club logo for authentication. Let's have a look at this ID. Where is it on the front? Bang, right here underneath the logo. Grading process, prep and inspect. Our expert graders glove up like a jeweler does before handling diamonds, ensuring a few moments your cards are out of the sleeves. They're handled with care. The package is open on the camera. We then match the card with your submission, then authenticate to ensure it's not counterfeit. Scan and capture higher res images. Then the cards are placed right back into top loader, safe and secure. Grade. Expert graders aided by computer vision and AI then examine every detail of every card. Cards are given 4 subgrades. A 5th auto grade is given to signatures, adding up to more accurate and comprehensive overall grade. After that first round of grading is reviewed, it's the same old shit as everything else. They've got a perfect 10 Source.
Yep.
Sorry. I thought I was going to sneeze again. They got a Gem Mint 10. Mint plus 9, which is a 9.5, a Mint 9, near Mint plus 8, which is the 8.5, near Mint plus 8 again. Anyway, grades below 8. Anyway, there you go. Another grading company on the scene. Derek Jeter's involved. Will it get pushed? Will it not get pushed?
Yeah, I'm just interested. I'm interested to see in
knows?
5 years' time, like where all these grading companies that have popped up in the last 2 years, where they're at. So,
a lot of them are just fallen off the face of the earth. Let's be honest. This one, PSA exclusive to their Collector Club members. Source. The bulk sub is back. Bulk service level, at $22 a card. 25 card minimum per order. 120, 150 calendar day estimated turnaround. Visit the link to join the Collectors Club today. There you go. There you go. I love how people like this comment here. What is the expected return time? What are the minimum number of cards per order? Do you not fucking read? It says 25 card minimum, you clown, at 120 to 150 calendar days. Like, people are just fucking dumb. Do you not read?
No, they don't. A lot of people just
like they're trying to be a smart ass. And is the backlog still on time for early fall? Like, come on, man. How about you read the thing? Peanut. Give some info, please. Please, fucking lemon. Give some info. Put everything in the description. Not even $18 per card. Wow. Clown emoji. The clowns are actually yourselves because it doesn't matter what price it is, you're still going to send your cards in. So
yes, thank you.
$18. It's not $4 cheaper. I'm not sending my card in. Yeah, all right. Yeah, relax. Fuck. Anyway, thoughts on it, Source? It's for Collector Club members, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not.
It's good. It's good that it's coming back. Cheaper prices, grading. There are still people waiting for outstanding orders. So I still think it's ludicrous that there's people with outstanding orders from a while ago still, them not getting pushed through, and then them accepting more and more new stuff. But it's PSA. They're the juggernaut. They'll do what the fuck they want. People will continue to kiss their feet because PSA makes them more money and generates more cash flow for people's cards. Because peanuts pay more for a PSA piece of plastic than any other piece of plastic. But it is what it is, man. And I'm not going to say that I wouldn't do the same. If some idiot's going to pay more for one piece of plastic than the other piece of plastic, then I'll do the same thing. I just want to see some. I just want to see. Hopefully, there gets to a point in this hobby where people aren't so, aren't so focused on what sort of plastic is covering their card, and then be more focused on the actual card. Because as we've seen, there's so many inconsistencies with grading. Doesn't necessarily mean the grade that's up there means that you're getting a perfect 10, or you're getting whatever grade respectively that's put on there. There's been numerous cards that have been sent into PSA, got 6s and 7s, cracked, resent, and got 10s. So you tell me how that works. So
can't
that's
tell you how
not
it
PSA,
works.
but it's everywhere. It's multitude of grading companies. So
what's
there's
funny? Like,
inconsistencies. I just think the hobby needs to get to a point and not be such PSA and certain grading companies sniffs, if you know what I mean, Doma, like being so particular that
Yeah.
everything needs to be PSA or BGS graded or SGC. I think
I
there's
think
room for other grading companies and other. I think there's room for others, and
I think
more people in the hobby need to accept that.
the thing that people need to understand is this one thing. And this is not a smash on anyone, yeah. Like, I'm not trying to kill any grading company because they all put the same thing source. All right. We just saw it on the Arena Club website. Every grading company says, like, in their process, this is step 1, step 2, step 3 is always grading usually, or whatever it is. Our expert graders will ensure, alongside AI and whatever, that your card is graded to what it actually is. Yeah. That in quotation, expert graders. All right. Just remember this: if they're all expert graders, there's human element involved. There's going to be errors made. But if there is such thing as an expert grader, why is it that the expert graders at the one grading company don't all come up with the exact same grade if that card is cracked and resubbed at the same grading company 3 or 4 times? Please tell me why. If they're all expert graders, if it comes an 8 and it gets cracked and resubbed 30 times, it should come back as an 8. They should all be on the same grading scale in terms of, like, they should all know what they're looking for. Unfortunately, it's just not the thing, because until it's fully automated by a computer, that's like, it gets rid of human error, and that's just all it is. Source, it's just human error. I'm not knocking it, but that's what I mean.
There's still human error involved in these companies that do it
is.
like a hybrid model. Part human and part computer.
I'm just trying to back up I'm just trying to back up what you're saying, because in the end of the day, it doesn't matter your grading company. Like, there's a human involved. I'm not saying they're shit at their job. I'm not saying that. It's just when there's humans involved, there's an element of error that can occur. That's just all it is. So you're really paying for a slab, which we've said in the past, the person could have an off day and they give you a bad grade, where someone else could be on and they're giving you a 10. So they're valuing your card. In the end of the day, it's your card. You're paying for the plastic in the end of the day that says a 10 or an 8, when it might not be an 8. It could actually be a 10. And then you got to crack and resub. You're just spending more money over and over again. Like, yeah, that's just our thoughts on it. Anyway, let's move on, because this happened as well.
We could go on about this whole grading
We've
situation.
done it 1,000 times. I'm not going to.
It's
beating
a dead horse at this point. And I mean, we hope that the people a bit more open-minded and not so narrow-minded.
Yeah.
Because, unfortunately, if you're not a, what's the word I'm looking for, buddy? If you're not, a veteran in this hobby that's been around, people don't want to, listen to what you have to say about grading companies. It's PSA or BGS, and that's it. An SGC, if you ask
James said,
those
"Don't
people.
get the grader when they're hungover." Well, we got no choice in that, James. We have no control who grades the card. That's what we're trying to say, like at all. So this one, Source. We'll move on. We don't need to talk about grading anymore. We know where it's at. Did you guess the Herbert Prism Black 101 would sell for over $1 million? If you did, you were right. The Justin Herbert 2020 Prism Black Rookie 101 was pulled just a week ago by Voltec Sports Cards. It's already been graded and sold to Fractoral Man, Triple J Pools, and MJ23 Luca 77 for 1.1 million USD. The sale has been verified by Cardladder and added to the sales history log. This makes this the second most expensive Prism Black 101 of all time, only behind the Giannis 2013 Prism Black 101 that sold for 1.14 million on the 12th of the 14th, 2020. What do you think about there being two 1 million plus Herbert cards after the NT Shield sells as well? So, interesting thing about this Source. So this was a BGS 9. Our friend here, Kurt's Card Care, pays to clean up your cards. Congratulations to the sellers and owners. Glad I could be involved to make it better. So, there's a bit of a mark on the card here somewhere. And, oh shit, that's not the one. That's just a Brownlow predictor. Oops. Before, then after, it got cleaned. And then it sold for 1.1 million. So pretty good stuff there, Source. All right. You would say that's pretty good.
Reasons of lemon worthy, in my opinion.
We're not Source. We're not done yet on this story, though. All right. We're actually not done yet on this story. So the one thing that I haven't seen reported yet was actually sent to me. So let's go here. Hopefully this works.
Generally, these things don't work for Doma.
It won't work, but I will make it work because I didn't want it to cover us when we spoke about it. But I'll just upload them in the images and we can just talk about it. All right, putting them in. Yeah, this was sent to me, and I've obviously seen all this stuff happen. And I just wanted to pose the question to everyone out there because it's actually very interesting. So I think it's this one first. So we'll chuck this one. So this is that card, Kurt's Card Care. This is his post. So it says 2020 Justin Herbert, card 325, Panini Prism, Black Fine 101, BGS 9, sold for $1.1 million. Does it matter if it was cleaned or altered? Question mark. Added to the altered card database. All right, that's what it says, Source. All right, so it says here, no, but if you, it says no, but if you can't wipe your own butt and you have to have someone professionally wipe it for you, then there is a problem. The spot on the card was not a fingerprint that anyone would just wipe off. As described by Kurt himself, it was a stain that covered the card. And here is a bit of a thing here. It says, to remove the stain, Kurt traditionally uses homemade polish. A substance of unknown chemicals is added to the card and wiped off. This will be repeated multiple times until the stain is gone. Is the stain gone, or is it just being covered up by the polish? Will it reappear as the polish fades over time? Every grading company claims that adding chemicals, cleaning, and or restoring cards is an alteration. If, as a collecting community, we all agree the grading standards need to change, then the grading companies need to update what is altering and what is acceptable for cleaning and restoring. And then it puts in there the excerpt Source of what an altered card is, which I need to read from here because I can't read it off there. It says authentic altered. This means that while PSA is certifying that the item is genuine due to the existence of alterations, the item cannot receive a numerical grade. The term altered may mean that the card shows evidence of one or more of the following. I'll take this off the screen. Trimming, recoloring, restoration, and or cleaning items receiving the authentic altered designation. In our opinion, are genuine with the presence of some type of alteration. This is done on a case-by-case basis only and must be notated on the submission form at the time of submission. So just putting that out there, it's very interesting that that was sent to me. James says, Kurt's mystery fluid.
That sounds so wrong.
Yeah, his intention is for it to sound wrong, and I know exactly what he's trying to say, and that is disgusting. But but funnily enough, Source, like Kurt was at the National. We had a stand at the National. I don't know if you saw that. I reckon he does great things, and if you watch his lives, he actually helps remove scratches and stuff like that. But it's true. Is it a masking thing?
I'll be honest. As far as I go cleaning my cards, I use a microfiber cloth, something very much similar to this, which you use for your glasses, right? You just buy like a bulk pack off Amazon or something, and I pretty much just use a bit of hot breath. And, maybe drink a bit of whiskey before. So there's maybe a bit of alcohol content in there or something, a bit of hot breath. And if it doesn't come off with that, and I'm not rubbing hard and doesn't come off or anything like that, that's it. I'll move on. I'm not sure if you've gone into I'm not sure if you've gone into the extent of Kurt's cart care, but in his kit, you also get this little plastic thing that helps smooth out edges and corners that may have been scuffed and aren't as sharp. You can smooth them out and make them sharper. So, that's also a form of altering. But, where there's an opportunity for people to game the system, they're going to try game the system. And, it is wrong. It is wrong, in my opinion, adding external chemicals. And I have seen people literally add it's like it's meant for your car, Doma. When you get like a scratch in your car, you buy it, you buy it from the auto store, and you buffer it in. And I have seen people do that. So buy this stuff that's meant for a scratch on a car, and you've got like a fine scratch on the card, not like a big indent scratch, but like a fine little scratch. It can, you slowly, wax on, wax off, it goes away. And I have seen people send cards in after doing that and get a better grade. So, yes, that is card altering, ladies and gentlemen. If you're adding external chemical, I don't know if I'm guessing my breath is an external chemical, but I'll tell you what, it doesn't work near as good as what Kurt's mystery fluid does. Because or else I would have let you know that it works a wonder, but it doesn't work that often. It's mainly just to see. A lot of the times what I'm doing that for is just to see better where fingerprints are on the card. Because sometimes they hide a bit under the light and wipe it off. But yeah, I don't think it's right, Doma. I think what's been done to the card in that sense is if you can't get that off with a slightly little damp microfiber or I don't know, if you've got to add an external chemical to clean it off, I think
the question is, Source, this is the question.
It is wrong.
Right.
It is altered.
This is the question. Because it's a prism card and it's got that film over the top. All right. It's easier probably for these chemicals to work. Now, I don't know if it works as well on a paper stock card, but the question is, this is the question I want to pose out there. Would you give a Mickey Mantle, a 52 Mickey Mantle paper stock card? It doesn't have to be Kurt's card. It could be to anyone. Source, and they put a chemical mixture on that card, would you trust them to clean your 52 tops Mickey Mantle with that chemical concoction?
Yeah,
If your answer is
I think
no, if your answer is no because you think it's going to damage the card, that means it has the reverse effect when it's altering a card by completely fixing blemishes. Like technically it is an alteration because it can alter the card either way. It can either destroy it and damage it and it will lose its monetary value, or it would enhance it through an alteration and get you $1.1 million and a better grade. So that's the way you actually need to think about it logically. So anyway, I posed that question to all of you and you think about it. Double Coverage family, you think about it. You let us know. DM us. If you listen to this, DM us. Let us know. Because I can tell you, if we put a post out there, someone will they'll try and murder us. Like we said, JFK style. We're just not ready for that just yet. So we'll see. All right, we'll move on. This checklist, well, this product came out a while ago, and the checklist is dropped, and this is for this product here. So this 2021 Skybox Metal Universe Champions Multi-Sport Cards Checklist. This is the one that comes with the Jordan PMGs. There you go. Jambalaya, LeBron. Obviously, they're in casual clothes. We don't really care about the base cards. Let's be honest, Source. We don't care. All right. The ones we care about, obviously, these PMGs and a couple of the other inserts. So let's go through quickly and have a look at some of the athletes that we can get in this product. These are the PMGs. So the reds to 150, orange to 100, pink to 75, blue to 25, green to 10, and the purple PMG is a 1 of 1. So some of the names in here, you can get Allen Iverson, Devonta Smith. There's Tatiana Weston Webb. She is a surfer. Paige Spiranek. Golf. Tim Grover, who was a trainer for Michael Jordan. Josh Giddey. Trey Lance. Stan Smith.
You got Ken Griffey
Justin
Jr.
Fields.
in there.
Ken Griffey, very nice.
Tiger Woods,
yeah. Coco Gauff.
Yeah,
Trevor
there was
Lawrence.
Naomi Osaka up top as well.
Ben Simmons, of course. Wayne Gretzky. They've got Trevor Lawrence here twice. Maybe it's a different looking card. Yeah, it probably is. Teofimo Lopez Source, the boxer.
Teofimo.
Jonathan Kuminga. Kyle Pitts. Matty Cairns' boys.
Ansu Fati. LeBron.
Ansu Fati. There you go. Yeah, it's decent athletes. Mac Jones is in there. That's all that matters. He's a whole bunch of other things in here. Materialized silver autos. There's a whole bunch of players in there. You can have a look at.
The boxes are quite expensive.
They're 1,300.
I don't know. I don't know if it's really
1,300 USD. It says here.
I don't know how I feel about that, Doma. There's a lot of trash guys in there as well.
Yeah. So if you want to have a look, head over to Cardboard Connection, and it is on there. All right. Second to last thing before we get into this potential buyout. Project 2022. We've got a whole another bunch of cards. There's some nice ones. I don't know if you've seen these just yet, Saul. So this might be a first for you.
I like the messy one.
All right. There's Rashford. That's from Doley. I like it. So if we put an order in, because we will be putting an order in, because we'll see who one of the artists is. So next we have Christopher Nkunku by Orland Arocena. That's a nice looking card. I don't mind that design. Tammy Abraham by Whip. Also a nice looking card. We have Lionel Messi by Sanil. And lucky last, we have Phil Foden by Tyson Beck. There you go.
Nice.
5
I'll be
new
getting.
cards there,
I'll be
Sauce.
getting one of those Fodens. Messi. We'll see. Dom will probably get the Rashford.
I'll get the Rashford and the Foden. And we'll move on, Sauce. Lucky last. Fanatics buying Panini. Are they? Are they not? Sports Card Radio put out a video saying it's confirmed. A lot of people saying it's happening. Source, you said that it's fake news. Bit of Donald Trump fake news.
Yeah, well, that was what I sort of found out when I did a bit of digging, that it was potentially fake news. I don't know, until I see a report come out from
Fabrizio Romano.
someone like Darren Rovell potentially bringing
Yeah.
out a report, or coming out from Panini themselves or Fanatics themselves. I'm not believing anything. Would it make sense for Fanatics to buy Panini out? Hell yeah, it would make sense. It would just mean that, they now own Topps and Panini. They could do a multitude of the best products from both of those two, companies that have had great success over the years, and probably make some of the best products that there is. The one thing that I'm looking forward to in all this, and I hope that they sort of stick to their words, is when you hear Michael Rubin speak and say he doesn't like the whole redemption thing. Whether they can fix redemptions or not, I don't have a solution for you, ladies and gentlemen. I don't get paid
He
enough
did
money
say
to deal with that issue, but it is something that needs to be not. I don't think it could be ever completely abolished. I'll be honest with you, Doma. I don't think it can be ever completely abolished. I just think there needs to be a better system in place that lowers the amount of redemptions, and also hopefully with the Fanatics licensing and that all being under the umbrella, they're able to get more superstars in sports to pick up the pens and sign autos. You got guys that, just for years and years just haven't signed autos. And I just hope that they're able to get more of those guys on board, because that will actually beef up the product, and it will mean that you won't have to go keep putting random guys from the 80s and 90s in there that their autos literally sell for $1 and $2 and $3 that no one really cares about. I'm sure people would prefer to see Jaylen Brown autos back in the product, and Paul George autos back in the product. But they haven't signed for a long time, those two guys. So
the question is, though, overall, Source, is it a healthy thing? Fanatics owning everything. Do you actually want that? Like that? I'm just putting that there as a generalization. That is just the question I'm putting out there. You can answer it if you want to, but do you want them monopolizing the whole entire hobby for product? Because they have stated that product isn't necessarily going down. People think, they're going to have it all, because they're cutting out distributors, and they're going to be distributing to giving allocation that it's
just means that more pie is going directly for Fanatics. That's the way I'm looking at it. I don't think prices are going to come down. I just think Fanatics is going to cut out some of the middle people so that more of the entire pie comes to them, which means more money for their bottom dollar, more money. It looks better for their stockholders, their stakeholders in the company, and hopefully increases their bottom dollar, which their stock prices go up. So I think it's all a game in how can we position our company to be more successful to our shareholders, so that therefore we keep them happy, and keep more investments, and keep our stock prices up. So I think that's where Fanatics is playing this game. I think they're looking at how they can keep their shareholders happy, and I think this would be a good way. You buy out Topps already, and then Panini, and then what's left, Upper Deck, and they've only got an NHL and a few other things. But NHL being the main one, big license that they have.
I tell you what, they'd want Upper Deck, Source, because if they get Upper Deck, when Panini loses the license, I don't think there'll be any more LeBron cards ever made. Like Fanatics won't be able to make LeBron cards. So I think they want Upper Deck because if they can get LeBron cards, they also get Jordan, and then they'll be able to produce Jordan and LeBron autos in their products.
Well, if they get Upper Deck, then that means they can actually put logos on it, and then we be back to Jordan and LeBron. And
but the other thing is you'll be able to get their autos. Yeah, that's the thing.
But they will also be able to put them in their uniforms.
Yes, correct.
Because they got their agreement with the
instead of Jordan.
Association.
Yeah, instead of LeBron on the jambalaya card and his snapback and a t-shirt. So there's a lot of good things. There's positives and negatives to everything. I just want that question there. Do you want to monopolizing the whole entire hobby? That's what
I don't have an answer for you.
So
I don't think it would be.
Jay says Panini's changing their name to Punani.
We all like a good punani. Nice and juicy.
Oh my god.
Hey, Russell Peters. Come on, man. Everyone has to see Russell Peters. Go look him up on YouTube.
We all know who Russell Peters is. He's very funny. On that note, Sauce, I got nothing left.
We're ending on a juicy punani.
Oh my god. Before it goes left, which it has.
We're going past the hour 30, mate. Of course it's going left.
Fuck's sakes. It's gone left here. I'm always lost for words when you stump me with these things. I'm Dom with the great man Sauce. And once again, keep living, loving, and breathing sport. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We love you dearly. James says time for some Playboy cards. This has gone that left. Bench warmers will be coming soon. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to leave a review on the Apple Podcasting app. Also, follow us on socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Talking all sports, double coverage.